The Galactic Council chambers hummed with the quiet efficiency of 1,000 civilizations conducting business. Ambassador ZYX-447 of the Crystalline Collective adjusted her translucent form as she reviewed the latest reports from the Outer Rim territories. The data streams flowing through her silicon-based consciousness painted a disturbing picture. Pirates, system failures, and most puzzling of all, reports of a species called humans performing impossible feats under extreme duress. The phenomenon defies all known xenobiological principles, declared Chief Analyst Morpheus 9, his gaseous form flickering with concern. Every rational species in the galaxy follows predictable performance curves. Stress reduces efficiency, fear impairs judgment, and exhaustion diminishes capability. Yet these humans appear to operate inversely. ZYX-447 had seen the footage herself. Human cargo pilots flying through asteroid fields while bleeding from multiple wounds, their reflexes somehow sharper than when healthy. Human engineers solving critical system failures in minutes when they'd struggled with routine maintenance for hours. Human soldiers displaying tactical brilliance only when outnumbered 10-1. The Vrex Dominion had been the first to encounter this anomaly. Their invasion fleet had surrounded a human colony ship, expecting swift surrender from the obviously outmatched vessel. Instead, the humans had performed a hyperspace jump calculation in 17 seconds, a feat that should have taken their primitive computers several hours. The jump had been executed flawlessly, threading between two black holes with mathematical precision that impressed even the Vrex's quantum-enhanced strategists. Perhaps it's a form of combat stimulant, suggested Subcommander Thrill of the insectoid hives, her mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Many species use chemical enhancement during crisis situations. Dr. Kepler Prime, the Council's leading xenobiologist, projected his findings into the chamber's central display. His robotic form whirred as he accessed vast databases of biological information. Negative. We've analyzed human biochemistry extensively. While they do produce adrenaline and cortisol under stress, these chemicals alone cannot account for the performance increases we've observed. If anything, their stress hormones should impair their higher cognitive functions. The mystery had consumed the Council's research division for months. The ethereal scholars had proposed that humans possessed latent psychic abilities that activated under pressure. The machine intelligence collective theorized that human neural networks operated on quantum principles that responded to environmental stress. The hive minds suggested that individual humans somehow tapped into collective consciousness during emergencies. All theories had been tested and found inadequate. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Captain Sarah Chun, a human diplomat who had volunteered for extensive study. She sat in the Council's bioanalysis chamber, electrodes monitoring her every neural impulse, as researchers from 12 different species observed her responses to controlled stress scenarios. "You're thinking about this wrong," she said, her voice steady despite the mounting pressure of the simulation. Around her, holographic displays showed her home colony under attack, her family in danger, impossible odds stacking against her. Her brain activity spiked dramatically. "You see stress as a limitation. For humans, it's clarification." ZYX-447 leaned forward, her crystalline structure resonating with curiosity. "Explain this concept of clarification." Captain Chen's fingers flew across the simulation controls, solving tactical problems that had stumped military academies across the galaxy. When everything's on the line, when there's no safety net, no second chances, that's when we stop overthinking. We stop second-guessing ourselves. We stop caring about anything except the essential task. The biometric readings were extraordinary. Her analytical processing had increased by 340%, her reaction time had improved by 60%, and her pattern recognition capabilities were operating at levels that matched some AI systems. Yet she wasn't using more of her brain. She was using it more efficiently. "It's like..." Chan paused, deflecting an incoming missile strike in the simulation while simultaneously calculating hyperspace coordinates. "Imagine you're carrying 100 different thoughts, worries, distractions. Then suddenly, someone threatens everything you care about. All those other thoughts just fall away. There's only the problem that needs solving. Dr. Kepler Prime's optical sensors focused intently on the data streams. The human brain under extreme stress appears to undergo a form of selective shutdown. Non-essential neural pathways temporarily deactivate, allowing increased processing power to be devoted to immediate survival challenges. But that's not the remarkable part, Chen continued, her voice growing more intense as the simulation increased in difficulty. She was now commanding a defense against impossible odds, her tactical decisions occurring faster than many species could even perceive threats. The remarkable part is that we don't just become more efficient, we become more creative. Desperate situations force us to find solutions that conventional thinking would never consider. The council watched in fascination as Chun orchestrated a defense strategy that violated every established military doctrine yet somehow worked brilliantly. She used her colony's mining equipment as weapons, turned their communication arrays into jamming devices, and convinced the enemy that her vastly outnumbered forces were actually a trap. The galaxy has spent millions of years developing sophisticated civilizations designed to minimize stress and optimize comfort, observed Ambassador ZYX 447, her understanding crystallizing. Like her physical form, we've created systems to prevent the very conditions that unlock human potential. The implications were staggering. Every species in the galaxy had built their societies around the logical principle that stress impaired performance. They'd created elaborate support systems, fail-safes, and redundancies to prevent their people from ever facing truly desperate situations. Humans, by contrast, seemed to have evolved in environments where desperate situations were common. Their neural architecture had adapted not just to survive stress, but to thrive under it. This explains their rapid technological advancement despite their recent emergence as a spacefaring species, mused Morpheus 9. They've spent centuries creating increasingly dangerous situations for themselves, then solving them through innovation born of necessity. The simulation ended with Chen's successful defense of her colony against overwhelming odds. As the stress faded, her bioreadings returned to baseline levels. She looked exhausted but oddly peaceful. "That's the other thing," she said quietly. "Once it's over, once we've saved what needed saving, we crash. Hard. That's when we need friends, support systems, time to recover." She smiled slightly. Humans aren't designed to operate at peak efficiency constantly. We're designed to surge when it matters most. The council chambers fell silent as the implications settled over the assembled representatives. They had discovered something unprecedented. A species that had evolved to excel under the very conditions that crippled every other known form of intelligent life. From that day forward, the galaxy viewed humans differently. They weren't just another emerging species. They were the ultimate crisis responders, the beings you called when the impossible needed to become possible. Human advisory teams became prized assets throughout the galaxy, not for their routine capabilities, but for their extraordinary performance when everything else had failed. The Council established new protocols, the Human Surge Doctrine, recognizing that some problems could only be solved by beings who became more capable as situations became more dire. They were the galaxy's emergency specialists, the ones who found ways forward when all logic suggested there were none. And Captain Sarah Chun, the woman who had helped the galaxy understand human nature, became the first human surge coordinator, tasked with identifying and deploying human teams to the galaxy's most desperate situations. Because sometimes the galaxy discovered the solution to impossible problems wasn't better technology or superior logic. Sometimes it was simply finding someone who performed best when performance mattered most.